Hello, everyone, and welcome to World Trade Wednesday, brought to you by Global Tooling Specialties, where we talk about Laredo's impact on world trade and World Trade's impact on the Laredo region. Today I have with me Sylvia Ortega. Sylvia, thank you so much for coming back. I know that we've had you on here before, and what you specialize, or we could even say that one of your passions is we share it. It's an equal passion, and that's workforce development. And one of the things that you work on specifically are apprenticeships. And I know on the federal level, the Department of Labor has over $150 million allocated to expand upon the apprenticeships, the existing apprenticeships, and expand upon them. Can you tell us more about what we're doing at the state level?
Yes, thank you so much, Alma. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. And so what we're doing at the state level in terms of expanding apprenticeship programs is we are looking to offer a tax incentive to employers that hire apprentices. Currently, 13 other states offer some type of tax incentive to employers that engage in apprenticeship programs. So this was based on our best practices research. We're looking to Texas doing the same thing. House Bill 966 has been filed in the Texas legislature. And in the Texas Senate, we have Senate Bill 685 that has been filed. These bills are identical bills. They've been filed in both chambers. They will give employers a $2,500 tax incentive per apprentice hired. It is limited to 5. The way the bill is currently drafted, it is limited to 5 apprentices per taxable entity, and it's for 4 taxable years. But we have tremendous bipartisan support in both the House and in the Senate, and we are really excited about our initiative. You know, CAPIT is a multi-pronged approach for talent development and retention. But in terms of legislative and public policy, we're really focusing on that this legislative session.
Oh, no, that's great. And you know, what are these industries that you're looking at to target for? Because think of apprenticeships, a lot of people think more of the hands-on, maybe the more vocational type, you know, plumbing, electricians. But we're not just limiting the apprenticeships to these trades when we talk about these initiatives, right?
That's absolutely correct. And that is a great point, because generally speaking and traditionally, apprenticeships have gone well with the construction trades. In Texas, the majority of apprenticeships that exist are in your plumbers and your pipers, your electricians. But that is exactly what the expansion is looking to do, is expanding into more of what they call the white collar jobs, you know, your healthcare industries, your marketing industries, your public administration. So we're looking to expand into all key industry sectors in the state of Texas. And it is definitely something that is very doable. Apprenticeships are generally new to America. For those that are not familiar with apprenticeships, they originated in Europe, primarily at the Volkswagen plant. And in Europe, apprenticeships are a way of life. Everyone is an apprentice. And so in the United States, and this is in every industry, whether you're going to be an administrative assistant, an executive assistant, they become an apprentice. So that's what we're looking to mirror in the United States. And so they're fairly new in that way. Employers don't know enough about apprenticeships and how they work and what is expected of them. But CAPED has been at the forefront since 2015. We have been at the forefront of outreach and advocacy for apprenticeship programs. As a matter of fact, if you recall, we had the first apprenticeship conference in the state of Texas, hosted at Texas A&M International University.
Yes, I was there.
And we were grateful to have our Texas commissioners come from Austin and engage in our conference. So we have been hard at it since then.
Yes, and in one of the things you mentioned are how they're fairly new to the United States, but I mean realistically, they're I'm not going to call it common sense. Right. But, it depends on everybody's level of common sense.
Absolutely.
But there is some ignorance, if you will, amongst employers, amongst these businesses that would really greatly benefit from having apprenticeships. The same people that are possibly complaining about skilled labor deficit. Yes. So what are CAPED's initiatives towards decreasing that?
So we are looking to create the next apprenticeship conference to educate employers on the technical side of an apprenticeship programs. Not enough employers know enough about them. Mm-hmm. And many employers ask, Well, what is the difference between an internship and an apprenticeship?
Yes.
And generally speaking, an internship is an exposure to the corporate world. I, for example, my major was in political science, and I was required to conduct an internship in that field. I was in Austin at St. Edward's University, and there was an opening for an internship at the governor's office. So I was able to engage for one semester. It was a non-paid experience, and I got a grade for it after writing a report about my experience. So generally speaking, they have been non-paid experiences.
Yes.
An apprenticeship is a paid experience. You are earning a wage while you're earning your degree on your career pathway.
Yeah.
So the employer hires you, and your curriculum is with a partnership with an academic institution. So you have it could be a consortium of, let's say, electrical companies that they come together and they create a partnership with the local community college or university.
Yeah.
And then that partnership is registered with the U.S. Department of Labor. Once that is registered, they become eligible for both federal and state funding.
Yes.
Texas Workforce Commission has funding available for apprenticeships.
Yes.
And that they become eligible for some of that grant money. There's also under what they call the WIOA, which is the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act.
Yes.
That also pays for instructors and textbooks and tuition. So there is a lot of funding right now out there to get a skilled labor force in place, and we're working with our state leaders to make them aware of that. So an apprenticeship is an earn and learn model.
Yes.
You get paid to learn. And it's particularly beneficial that right now, particularly because we're at, like you talk about the crisis in America.
Yes.
We are at 1.5 trillion in student loan debt, and approximately 44% of students are in default and 29% are in deferment. Layer that with national statistics that show 60% of students who graduate cannot find a job in their field of study.
Yeah.
And in the state of Texas, the youth unemployment rate is at approximately 11% for youth ages 20 to 24.
Yeah.
And so there's a disconnect. There's something going on. And so apprenticeships will bridge that gap. Apprenticeships will link our education and our industry leaders to get the exact skills that are needed in every industry.
What are the next steps for these House bills?
So what's happening right now is those bills have been filed in both the House and the Senate. They're identical bills, and they get referred to committee. Then the House Bill 966 has been referred to the Ways and Means Committee, and in the Senate, it's going to the Finance Committee. And so what happens, there's going to be public testimony. And so we are working with several industry leaders who have come and given us feedback on this legislation. So the way the bill is drafted may not stay the way it is. Once there's a public testimony and the public hearing and they share it with committee members, make recommendations on how this bill can maybe be tweaked a little bit or changed. Yeah. It goes to a committee substitute, and then there's a committee report with any changes. Okay. And so we invite industry leaders to come out and come and testify in support of our bill. If you are a small to mid-sized company that would benefit from this type of incentive, please come register to be either to have, if you can't make it to the Texas Capitol to testify, you can provide a letter of support for that bill. But that is so important that we hear from the industry leaders that they want this bill, that is important to Texas, and that and how it can, at the bottom line, it's going to create economic development. It's going to create jobs. It's going to create economic development for Texas and put us at a more competitive advantage for this global market that we're in.
Yes,
we cannot do it without the industry.
Of course
Apprenticeship programs are industry driven. Many people will say, "Well, have you spoken to the colleges and the universities?" Yes, we have, and they're ready. But the industry leaders have to dictate, this is the skill we need. This is the type of skill that is needed, so that a customized curriculum is created. And then you partner with your academic institution to deliver the classroom instruction portion. But most of it is going to be driven by the industry. So if we hear from industries that they want this legislation because it's going to be important to Texas, then the members of the legislature are going to be listening. And I wanted to thank the Texas Association of Business, who's in full support of our efforts. But we need businesses to come and advocate for support of these bills, House Bill 966 and Senate Bill 685.
Yes. So where do we go for more information?
Please visit our website at www.caped.us. CAP as in graduation, CAP, ED as in education. So go to caped.us. apprenticeships.us. And you can scroll down to the bottom. You can click on Follow Our Bill, and it'll take you straight to the legislative website.
Okay.
And there's also a template for letters of support.
Mhm.
And also, if you want to become a member of our coalition, please, go to our membership tab
Okay.
and join our efforts.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, great. And I know that one of the key gaps, if you will, with all this is educating the potential employers, the people that could benefit,
Yes.
the people that are crying for help, but not
Yes.
really understanding what their options are. So I thank you so much for your initiatives and doing this
Thank you.
for our state and helping us catch up to what the federal government's already proposed and what
Yes.
they're already doing actively. And I know for us personally, being that, you know, it is World Trade Wednesday, but what one of the key industries, if you will, one of the key job marketplaces is a shortage of truck drivers.
Yes.
On the manufacturing side of things, skilled machinists. So
Right.
those are two very, red flags that if
Yes.
we're not actively doing these types of programs and we're not participating as employers, we're really just shooting ourselves in the foot. And if we don't feel it as business owners, we definitely will all feel it as consumers.
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate your efforts, Sylvia.
Thank you so
so
much.
much for coming back and
Thank
talking
you
to
for
us and
having me
updating
again.
us on the many initiatives you have to help solve what is a human capital crisis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alma. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much for watching World Trade Wednesday, brought to you by Global Tooling Specialties, where we talk about World Trade's impact on the Laredo region and Laredo's impact on World Trade. Today we talked about one of my favorite topics, which is workforce development, and there's many ways you could talk about it. There's many things that need to be said, and there's even more things that need to be heard. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.